We have a quorum, so I think we'll get started here. And another board member or two will probably be joining the call here shortly. This is a regular meeting of the Ferndale Board of Education being held Monday, March 15th, 2021, and being held virtually in accordance with the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services orders currently. The meeting is called to order at 7:03 p.m. Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Dookie.
Here.
Elturk.
Here.
Ibrahim.
Here.
Latash.
Here.
President Davidson.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item 1.2, the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda item 1.3, the approval of the agenda. Do any board members have any amendments they would like to make to the agenda?
Mike, can we add, Sarah had emailed me and I echo her request to add during the informational items, ESSER 2 funding, ESSER 2 funding, under the second informational item, please.
Informational item 9.3, Ms. Shepherd. You said that's it's ESSER 2 funding?
Yes, that's correct.
Thanks, Tanya.
Any other amendments to the agenda? All right, seeing none, the agenda will be approved as amended. That takes us to agenda item 2, the presentation of the Superintendents Excellence Award.
All right, we had to move this up this month because one of our winners has athletic obligation at the same time. So we get to start with the good stuff first. This month we have two recipients of the Superintendents Excellence Award. The first student is a Ferndale High School student that was nominated by Mr. Sean Butler. The student is Emily Foster, who is an 11th grade student with us. Emily, I'm gonna share some of Mr. Butler's submission with everyone. Then we'll give Mr. Butler an opportunity to speak if he's with us. And then you can say a couple words if you so choose, okay? Emily has been a top 8 of her class since the 7th grade. She takes honors and AP classes, both at FHS and CASA. She is incredibly diligent in her studies, an active participant in daily classes, and does well in everything she does. She's also a member of the National Honor Society. Emily is also an athlete, a student athlete, and a key leader on our varsity team the past 2 years. She's led the volleyball team to the past 3 district titles and the first regional championship final match in over 30 years. Emily also serves as a youth mentor for her club volleyball team. She volunteers at her church, participates in the annual fall community cleanup, and is a volunteer for the Gleaners Food Bank. She's always working for others, both inside and outside of the classroom. Even with difficulty, Emily has shown perseverance, never falling behind with her studies, working with her teachers to ensure that she does well. The things that she's gone through, really no one would know because she keeps pushing on and doing the best that she can. Emily is the type of student that makes Ferndale High School a wonderful place to be. She adds value to not only her peers, as well as the staff. So it's with great pleasure that we present Emily with the Superintendents Excellence Award for this month. Yeah. I'm not sure if Mr. Butler was able to make it, but obviously he wrote a great submission on your behalf, and again, has the highest respect for you as a student, athlete, and overall person. So Emily, if you or your family want to say just a couple words, please do. I hope you received the award. We did mail it. If not, it'll come the next day or two.
Yeah, I actually just got it like a couple hours ago. So
okay, good timing.
And Mr. Butler's not here, but I do want to thank him for nominating me. And then just all my teachers and my parents for just supporting me and helping me through all the things that led to where I am now.
Nice.
Well, congratulations again, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Emily.
All right, the next recipient we have is a senior at University High School who is nominated by Miss Tara McCormick. Our student that we'll be honoring today is Kirby Hatcher. All right, so I'm gonna read a little bit from Miss McCormick's submission and then just invite her to say a couple words. Kirby is a leader inside the classroom and on the volleyball court, always willing to go above and beyond to help her peers however she can. Kirby's also a part of a girls mentoring program and club volleyball team. Kirby also took the initiative to help organize the Black Lives Matter group this past summer and inspires her classmates in terms of social justice initiatives. In terms of her sports commitment, she has always balanced her athletics, her studies, and her work. Kirby was new to the UHS family last year, and in a short period of time has made a great impression on her classmates and teachers. She is friendly, generous, dedicated, and an amazing example of how to be successful both inside and outside the classroom. Kirby inspires all those around her. So with great pleasure, we honor and recognize Kirby Hatcher, the other winner of the Superintendents Excellence Award. Ms. McCormick, if you want to say a couple words.
Sure. I had the pleasure of teaching Kirby for the past 2 years. She was new to UHS last year, and so was I. So it was, you know, we kind of had a good relationship from the beginning, kind of both getting to know the school, and just watching her in the classroom, what a great person she was, working with her other classmates, and then hearing about all the things she was doing outside. So I'm just super excited for her and proud of her, and can't wait to see what the future holds.
Kirby, are you with us? I thought, oh, okay, 1 second, she's coming in. Hey, Kirby, we just read this submission and congratulated you. We want to know if you want to say a couple words.
I just want to say thank you for Ms. McCormick for nominating me. I don't know if she's in here or not. It was great for her nominating because we both started at Ferndale at the same time, and it was just like we really connected. Me being in her class, me not even being in her class, I would come and say hi to her every day, and I'm just glad she nominated me, and I'm just grateful, especially in the pandemic.
Congratulations, Kirby.
Congratulations, Kirby and Emily. We are really proud that you're part of the Ferndale family. That takes us to agenda item 3, the Eagle of the Month.
This month's recipient was nominated by Ms. Johanna Marakna. The person that we're recognizing this month for their excellent work and dedication to Ferndale Public Schools, Robin Camblin, who is an administrative assistant for the curriculum and instruction department. I'm going to read a few of Ms. Marakna's submission and then give her and Robin an opportunity to say a few words. Robin has been critical to the success of our buildings district-wide this year. She's been in charge of the COVID-19 related school orders for all buildings, equity library orders at each building, and has continued to perform at an outstanding level despite the difficulties of the pandemic. Her knowledge of budget, vendors, building needs, and timing is impeccable. She has consistently met every deadline and milestone, even when they have been unexpected due to the nature of COVID-19. She has worked with each building with care, precision, accuracy, and the interactions have been flawless. Regarding Robin's interpersonal skills, she is friendly, kind, caring, and organized. These qualities are what make Robin so exceptional in her role. Although Robin is responsible for her own daily tasks, she can often be found assisting other buildings with their tasks as well. Robin also has an ability to communicate effectively with all her coworkers, and this is critical. This is a critical skill at the heart of her success. I'm excited to nominate Robin for Eagle of the Month. She is an invaluable employee, a tremendous asset, not only to the C&I department, but also to the district at large, and is so deserving of this award and recognition. So with great pleasure, we honor Robin Camblin with this month's Eagle of the Month award.
Thank you. I have it too.
I'm glad it made it. I was worried.
Yeah. Yep.
Johanna, do you want to say a couple words?
Yeah, I think every principal in the district knows that the things would probably not have arrived without Robin. So we are very, very grateful. She's a huge support to all of our buildings, all of our programs, and always kind, considerate, organized, the kind of employee any organization would be lucky to have.
Well, I just can't believe all those nice things. And I am grateful every single day for being part of this family. I'm just truly amazed at how well everything works together, and I'm honored to be working here. And thank you for all those nice things.
Congrats, Robin. The pleasure's ours.
Thanks.
Congratulations, Robin, and thank you for all you do for our district.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've observed that public comment, I don't believe, is on the agenda. If I recall correctly, I think we usually do that after the building presentation. Does any of my fellow board members, would they confirm that?
That sounds correct.
So I'm actually going to make one more amendment to the agenda, and after the building presentation, make it item 7, public comment, and then everything else after that will be bumped out 1. Consent agenda will be 8, and all the items under consent agenda will be 8.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Action agenda items will be 9 and 9.1, 2, and so forth, and thereabouts through the rest of the agenda. And just I wanted to say that now rather than wait, just so people know that there will be public comment. It's not forgotten. All right, that will take us to item 4 on the agenda, a presentation from Commissioner Charlie Cavell. Charlie, are you with us?
Yes. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate y'all letting me come here and share some COVID information. Just been trying to make sure that in an effort to ensure adequate and consistent and high quality communications, figured come bother you all for a few minutes. So with that in mind, if I could do first giving kind of a funnel of numbers of where we've been and where we are as it relates to COVID. Second, talk about some news that's come up in the last week or so, and then talk about how you can make sure that you're registered, especially because as of late, the news is going to mean that 1 million more people in Oakland County will soon have access to the vaccine or be able to sign up. So if that's all right with y'all. Okay. And also, just before I begin, just to everyone watching, I've been sharing, I'd say maybe twice a week at least, updates to the elected school board here and Superintendent Dr. Bazzi. And I appreciate the feedback we've gotten from both board member Sarah and board member Anna about things that the county could and should be doing about vaccine related to equity. So I can address that too in my update. So first, the funnel. So Michigan has received 3.7 million doses of vaccine. That is both 1-shot and 2-shot doses. Most are 2-shot doses. Oakland County as a whole has received 405,000 doses of vaccine since beginning of vaccination in December. Now, Oakland County has 2 systems. One is 5 hospitals, right? McLaren, Beaumont, Ascension, St. Joe's, and Henry Ford, as well as Rite Aid and Myers that are working in their own unique systems. And then there's the OakGov system. So as county commissioner, working with the OakGov system, we've received 130,000 doses. And last week we received 17,000 doses. Now that 17,000 doses is a huge difference from when we received just under 2,000 doses at the beginning of the vaccination process. So we're starting to crest this wave of being able to vaccinate people. And to kind of share that information a little bit more data-driven wise, a 65 and up population in Oakland County, 61% of that group, 65 and up, has received at least 1 shot. And that's important because when we think about how herd immunity works, right, our goal is 70%. So there's some rough numbers to give you context of where we've been and where we are. To give you some news. So first, speaking to social vulnerability, the state government has been running a program based on the CDC's Social Vulnerability Index. They admittedly started that a little bit behind the 8 ball and are now playing catch up a bit. But where we've arrived at is that there are 22 separate pilot programs that are throughout the state. And I'd say about half a dozen of them are here in Oakland County that are being run through OGov to then help administer the vaccine in a way that focuses on making sure that disparities are minimized, or at least we make up for gaps that have been existing to date. Some important dates. So on March 8th, people 50 and up with health concerns or disability became eligible to sign up for the vaccine. On March 22nd, people 16 and up with health concerns or physical or mental disabilities will be eligible to sign up for the vaccine. On April 5th, everyone 16 and up will be eligible to sign up for the vaccine. So what that means is where we've been is a population of essential workers and 65 and up people, which is about 250,000 individuals in Oakland County, have been eligible to sign up for the vaccine. And where we will go is there will be now 1 million new people in Oakland County alone eligible to sign up for the vaccine, roughly. So patience is encouraged, but also please do sign up. And I can give out information about phone numbers to call or websites to go to if you'd like, Chair Davison, or I can just give out my number and then everyone can reach out to me if they have questions. Which would you think is best?
Why don't you go ahead and
Your number.
are you want to share your number with the player listening body here?
Yeah. So my cell is 248-807-4347. Feel free to call or text 248-807-4347. And I can give you all the COVID info you might need. And also, just an FYI, the county also does $1 billion worth of business with your tax dollars outside of COVID. So if you ever have questions about that, would love to talk to you about any of those things.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Cavell.
Thank you for letting me come interrupt y'all.
Well, thank you.
That will take us to agenda item 5, the student representatives. Is Jeanne with us from UHS?
I don't think she's here, Mr. Davidson, but Jaslyn is here.
Jaslyn, would you be willing to share with the board a few things happening at UHS?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Okay, so good evening, everybody. My name is Jaslyn Coles, and I am the 11th grade representative for University High School. Today was our first day back in person after over a year. Wednesday is our Black Excellence celebration. Give me 1 minute. I apologize. So this year's event will be held virtually from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. We feature various presentations reflecting Black excellence. All are welcome to attend. Prom is on. So the class of 2021 will have a prom on May 27th. More details to follow from our senior class advisors. And we have Student Union. So the Student Union, I am the founder of the Student Union, and we have some updates. So we did our first charity event last month called All for Love. So we collected coats, clothes, and blankets to be able to set along 9 Mile and Woodward in order for those in need or the homeless to come pick up. This month, we are planning on a food drive. So we will have more information about that to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Kai Walker with us from Ferndale High School?
Yes, I am, and good evening, everyone.
Welcome.
Hi, Kai.
Hi. I would like to start off with saying March 5th, we had senior photos with cap and gowns. Students were given the opportunity to obtain Ferndale swag as well and their student ID lanyards. Today was our first day back for hybrid as well. And I'm a hybrid student, and I was so very happy today to come back and see all my teachers and friends. And I think it was extremely successful. I felt safe, and I felt like everything was disinfected. So I really commend teachers and staff for doing what they had to do today. It was really, really a great experience. Secondly, administrators want students to remember that the Clear to Go screener app equals entry to the school. You absolutely have to fill out that screener app, but it also needs to be noted that the app may be directly linked to parents' emails, so parents should check their emails, and there should be dialogue between student and parent, because our school needs to know, they need to find out the results before entering the school. Specifically for seniors, prom date and location is May 7th at the Rooster Tail, and this year prom is exclusively a celebration for our seniors. Seniors are excited to get a final opportunity to celebrate with their classmates and look good while doing it. As well, in May is the drive-through and movie night, which is May 27th. Our graduation ceremony is June 2nd, and that will be at the Aretha, which is downtown. Seniors also need to be aware of senior meetings every Tuesday and at 3:30 p.m. With the exception of this Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. as there has been a schedule change. So we want every student and staff to know to check the Remind app just in case further updates come. Seniors are encouraged to frequently check their senior packet as well for future updates. For general student news, scheduling is open for next year, so it is suggested that all students get on that as quickly as possible. Another update is March 25th is the last chance for picture ID for the yearbook, lanyards, and t-shirts. We want every student to be represented in our yearbook, and so it's very important for students to show up if they have not gotten a picture ID. And remember to order your yearbooks, and that is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Kai. We appreciate your presentations, Jaslyn and Kai. Thank you for giving us updates. That will move us to agenda item 6, the presentation of the building presentation for this month of Ferndale High School from Principal Radhika Isaac.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Board of Education and all the participants that are joining us today. We're very excited to present an update for Ferndale High School this year. As you heard, today was our first day for hybrid, and it was just great to have students back in the building after a full year. It was almost exactly a year, and our staff was excited to not only have our students in person, but also excited for tomorrow as we have smaller cohorts now, so we get to do the same lesson into small groups. So it's exciting with creativity and innovation. So just wanted to take a few minutes of your time today to give you some updates on all great things Ferndale Eagles. So Dr. Bazzi, can you go to the next slide? So we have our enrollment currently is at 681 total. Just for today's status, to give you an idea, 39% of our students are joining us in person and 61% are remaining virtual for the rest of the school year. So we are again excited to see that we have one classroom that has two smaller sizes, so we can provide really meaningful instruction in both of those mediums. So part of my presentation today, our word this year, as we were reflecting on all things that were related to the greatest changes we've had as educators in the past year, we wanted to remind ourselves that we are still committed to our vision to all students. And so I just wanted to, this is where we anchor ourselves for every staff meeting. Anytime we have conversations, we want to go back to the fact that we are committed to all students, regardless of what situation we're in, regardless of what the world brings to us. We are continually going to move towards improving ourselves and the way that we serve our students and families and one another. So with that in mind, this year we had three sort of questions that we continued to anchor ourselves within. How are we engaging students with high quality education? How are we helping students close their achievement gap? And how are we supporting our students in social emotional learning? These three questions, each time we have dialogue, each time we make decisions, each time we reflect, we want to continually, again, be committed to those three ideas and those three ways that we serve our students. The closing their achievement gap is really ensuring that every student is able to reach their potential. And so we continue to strive for that. So we had quite a few commitments this year. One of the things that we really want to really make sure that we're grounded in is that in order for us to serve our students, we really need to work within ourselves. So you know, research has shown for decades now that unless the adults are in the space as a learner, as if the adults need to be in an open mindset, in a growth mindset, adults are the ones that have to be there in order to then cultivate that within their classroom. So with the focus on equity as a district, we continued that work in our classroom. So we had a focus on professional learning throughout the year. In regards to race, equity, inclusion, and all throughout the year, we've had it embedded through Equal Opportunity Schools professional learning. We've had Dr. Jay Marks from Oakland Schools join us at a staff meeting, actually there's going to be 3 total. And we've had multiple opportunities organized by our district, by central office as well. So every few weeks, we are examining our own personal biases. We're examining history in regards to race, equity, and inclusion. Culturally responsive teaching continues to be something that we strive for. Last year, our staff engaged in a book study. This year, we have a teacher that's part of the PLC, Culturally Responsive Teaching PLC, that is led by Zaretta Hammond. We have a leadership group that is looking at culturally responsive teaching strategies in a virtual platform. So we're still growing in small cohorts, and we are so excited to really expand ourselves to the full school staff, everybody being part of it next year. Our Equal Opportunity Schools is another commitment that we've made. We continue with. We are in year 2. the equal opportunity schools, as I'm going to share later, the drive is to increase participation of students of color in AP classes. And for us at FHS, we talk about onboarding students to any AP and honors classes that they feel passionate about, and how are we going to serve them. So I'll speak to that a little bit more later in the board meeting. Another commitment we have is to the advancement via individual determination. Some of you may know it as AVID. We added a 9th grade cohort this year. So AVID in the middle school is available for students in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. This year we added a 9th grade cohort, and we're going to be adding a 10th grade cohort next year. We've been growing it at this site team level, and we are really looking, again, I hope you notice that there's that adult professional learning. We are going to expand AVID and really grow AVID by bringing our teachers on board with the strategies. What AVID does is not necessarily, it's not a program, it's really a foundation of things that we're already doing and how to make every strategy, every scenario, every environment that we set up to be at its optimal level. And so students benefit from that as teachers are starting to grow in their practice with AVID strategies and AVID platforms and AVID scenarios. We know students will be also growing in the same way. So these are our commitments. And again, that social emotional piece, our impact curriculum, you know, the pandemic didn't deter us at all. We have dedicated teachers that took all the work that's been done over the past couple of years, digitized all of it, and really moved themselves to be more student responsive, to have student input on what is it that would be really beneficial in our impact curriculum. And so we continue to grow in that for this year as well. So as part of the district strategic plan, we have our 3 areas, our 3 pillars that we have. So with empowerment, I wanted to highlight, we have, we're working on a lot of the objectives in varying degrees, but I wanted to highlight the objective of the whole person, that ensuring physical, mental, and nutritional health, not just for our students and families, but also staff members. So just that overall whole person well-being. And so some of the things that we've done, Dr. Bazzi, if you can go to the next slide. Some of the things that we implemented, I should say, there's a lot of things continuing to work in that, but some new things that we implemented is a 10-minute meditation at the top of each staff meeting. So once a month, I have the privilege of working with our staff as a whole group in an online. And so you can imagine having a staff meeting and trying to create a collaborative space. And so very early on, with everything that was going on, all the changes that were occurring, we put in a 10-minute meditation that one of our teachers leads, Ms. Haddad, and we just take 10 minutes just to anchor ourselves again to an open and collaborative space. Another group that has been very informative, selfishly, it's been very fulfilling and informative for me as a new principal, is our student voice group. It's actually FHS Voice now, because the students really wanted staff members to be part of it. So it's just a group of students and staff that meet once a month. It's quite informal in the sense that whatever is the topic of that month or whatever comes up is what we talk about. It tends to be related to the changes that we have occurring with our school weeks. But a couple of things really came out of our FHS Voice group. One is the pulse check surveys. So in November, December, and January, we had students take surveys just to see how, where they are. So, you know, I am being supported. I feel supported. I feel that I'm able to engage in my classes, all these different types of statements, and students were rating themselves with it. And we use that information to then reflect on services we can provide to our students. And what was really beneficial was that staff were part of that. So it really opened up a dialogue where students were sharing their side of the story, right? Their perspective, the journey that they walked. And then teachers were saying, oh, well, this is how we're walking on this journey, and then finding ways that we can kind of come up with some solutions. So one of the things that really came out of that, that teachers are doing is, students said, we really want everything to be, we want as much of our week's lessons to be posted on Monday because there's so much asynchronous time and we have synchronous time. It's difficult when it's just opened up on the day of the class. So can we have some work assigned ahead of time? And so teachers are working towards that. So that's just one example just from that dialogue that came. So it's always trying to build that bridge with students and staff working together to really streamline and create an effective learning model. I put monthly swag here because I think it just brings joy. And so when we think about whole person, we gave, each month we gave away swag, and it gave me, again, this is a very selfish thing, but it gave me a chance to connect with students and families. And I've gotten to know quite a few families in that way, but it also gave students to see one another when they came up to the school to pick up swag or materials. And as Kai mentioned, March 5th was sort of our big hurrah with seniors, with cap and gowns being passed out and photos being taken. So it's become a really nice tradition. And now that we're 5 days a week with a full schedule, whether you're virtual or remaining virtual or hybrid, we're going to find a way to continue this because just this once a month sort of pop-up has been really, really beneficial. And from the district, we have a couple of things that are provided universally that, again, speak to that whole person, the nutritional side. Breakfast and lunch is provided to all that are in the building. And then as you know, that we have pickup for community twice a week. Anyone in the community can come on up to Ferndale Middle School and pick up food for the week. And we encourage as many people to come by as possible. And then our central office launched our staff wellness with February. And I just wanted to put a little plug in for our Ferndale High School team. They won the February challenge, and we have a giant trophy that was delivered to us. And we're very excited that as a staff, we were able to get a wellness trophy. So there's a lot of different ways that we've tried to incorporate, though we were virtual up till now, we've worked really hard to incorporate some whole person well-being initiatives this year. When it comes to excellence, I wanted to highlight the objective about diverse and culturally responsive school practices. I mentioned that earlier as one of our commitments that we've made. And so again, I want to highlight it's so critical that adults that are engaging our learners are the ones that need to be at the forefront of growth. And so Dr. Bazzi, if you go to the next slide, we have quite a few professional development opportunities, and teachers have been taking advantage of it. I did forget to put DEI on here, diversity, equity, inclusion cohort that our central office has provided some all district professional learning in regards to equity and inclusion. If you look to your left in the yellow, we have a cohort of teachers that attended just curating inclusive classroom libraries. This was attended by our ELA staff and some other department staffs, and it was just a beneficial, it was only 3 hours, and yet it had such a powerful long-term impact. We have our culturally responsive teaching. As I mentioned, we have a PLC that is led by Zaretta Hammond, and I hope to grow that for next year. This year we had one teacher who was very excited about it, and we're excited to support her, and I see her as a teacher leader in this work when it comes to growing this PLC version of it in our building. Oakland schools, there has been multiple opportunities. Dr. J. Marks being one facilitator that has provided quite a few professional learning opportunities, and we've had staff attend those also. We have the Ferndale Foundation that is raising funds to build our classroom libraries with books that speak to inclusive or books that speak to inclusion. And so, excuse me. And then the science symbol was my attempt to gather a science one, but our science department is also having speakers that are coming in to speak to our students and taking advantage of the virtual platform. So every other week, there's somebody that's coming to speak to our high schoolers. These scientists that they have coming, they go through and they really look at being inclusive in even choosing who is coming to speak to our students, and really ensuring that we're representing all that are not just in our building, but also outside of our building. So really creating a broad overview of all that come. Excuse me. I'm so excited, I'm losing my voice. So the last pillar is environment. We want to make sure that we're providing a flexible multisensory learning environment. And what caught my eye here as I was going through all of our objectives in the strategic plan was innovative resources in space. Dr. Bazzi, if you go to the next slide, I think that this was, we couldn't help but be in this space this year. So I just want to highlight the work that our staff has done. I am just in complete awe of our teaching staff, our support staff, just all staff in our building that have embraced virtual learning. The one gift, and I've shared this with Dr. Bazzi, is that our district really said, you know what, we're going to try this, we're going to do this, and we're going to stick with it. We are one of the few districts that allowed our teachers to really grow and flourish in a virtual platform. And I think that the payoff is just going to be tremendous, because as we shift into a hybrid and fully in person, the tools and the skills that our staff was able to develop and establish in the past few months is just going to impact education and the way that we serve our students far into the future. So I did not have, there's so many different online tools and resources that our teachers have used, but I just put the few that have been used a lot. And our departments work together to really streamline as much as possible. As you can imagine, I know that we have parents here. When we first came on, all teachers were so excited and we tried so many different things, and students were being introduced to Nearpod and Google Classroom and Canvas and WeVideo and Google's out, everything at the same time. And then our departments really worked to streamline it and make sure that we were being honoring our students and their learning experience, and really minimizing the number of apps and different platforms that we use, and really maximizing on the few really good ones. And so the ones that I put here are the ones that are utilized most often throughout our district. Canvas and Google Classroom are used throughout. A lot of teachers use Nearpod and Google Slides. We have had teachers until we couldn't do it anymore. We had a lot of teachers doing pop-ups with additional learning opportunities. And I'm excited as teachers are coming to me now saying, I think we'll be ready for pop-ups before break. So though this is a really big week for us, teachers are already thinking about how to extend their learning beyond the classroom already. So this is our brief update. I couldn't share lots and lots more stuff that's going on at Ferndale High School, but I know I can't take the next 6 hours, because I think it would take longer than that. So this is my brief update for Ferndale High School, and I'm honored to be part of the Ferndale family. And if you have any questions, I invite you to ask any questions to clarify anything I've shared today, and look forward to the next time we get the opportunity to share all things at Ferndale Eagles.
So Miss Isaac, just for clarity, one of the teachers from Ferndale working directly with Miss Hammond, the author of culturally responsive teaching?
Yeah, so it's an online PLC, and so yes, it's led by Zaretta Hammond. So I was totally in awe, and I wish I could have joined the cohort, but I couldn't. And so I'm actually jealous of her being able to do it. But yes, it's a really amazing opportunity that that landed on our laps, and we wanted to try it out. And she she just jumped on board, even though we're in the middle of a lot of changes. So we're excited to be able to offer it next year again.
It's pretty amazing. All right, well, thank you very much, Ms. Isaac, for that presentation. It's exciting to hear about all the DEI work and everything with regards to the strategic plan that the high school is carrying out. Thank you for all your work. That will move us to agenda item 7, public comment. This is the time for public participation in tonight's board meeting. The Board of Education intends for the public to have many opportunities to address the board and administration of the school district. That can be through email, phone calls, face-to-face meetings, community gatherings, public meetings, etc. We welcome individual and group input into the important issues that confront our schools. As we noted earlier, this is an open meeting of the school board, open to the public. We want to provide fair and impartial guidelines for participation as required by the Open Meeting Act and to encourage transparency and equal treatment for everyone in attendance. We recognize that an effective meeting facilitates better decisions and promotes openness by allowing more people to stay for the full length of the meeting. To meet these goals, please note, we ask at the beginning of your public comment that you identify yourself. Please introduce yourself. And you will have 3 minutes, up to 3 minutes to address the board if you wish. And Board Vice President Sandra Dukey will give you a notification if you're approaching the 3-minute limit. Public comments are both for non-agenda items as well as issues that are on the agenda. Public comment will end at the close of this part of the agenda. In the event that the number of people wishing to comment requires longer than 30 minutes, public comment will temporarily be postponed. After 30 minutes will be added to the end of the meeting for those that did not get a chance to speak. Complaints about staff should be made outside of board meetings and should follow the applicable board policy. The board cannot respond to complaints about employees in public. This is meant to promote fairness to both the staff person and the complainant. And finally, the Ferndale Public Schools community acts with great civility toward one another. Please help us to maintain that tradition during public comment. So if you would like to address the board, please unmute yourself and introduce yourself, and we will get underway. Is there anybody tonight that would like to address the board? All right. Yes.
Is Susan Bert raising her hand?
Oh, if you'd like to address the board, go ahead and unmute yourself. I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
I'm Susan Bert. Yeah, I have a question just about the new funds that the governor is proposing or offering, I guess, and if they would impact Ferndale's students as it's currently structured. I mean, I guess some of the kids, the younger kids, are going to school more frequently, like 20 hours, maybe, I think, or more. So I don't know how the funding would impact Ferndale schools, if there's any benefit to Ferndale looking at that. I guess you already did last week or something. I don't know what meeting that was, but I don't know if you could give a brief overview of that, or maybe you already did somewhere? Thanks.
Like we're actually gonna cover that, Susan, at the SR2, the one that we added. So we'll speak to it then.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? All right, though that will close tonight's public comment. That will take us to item 8 on the agenda, the consent agenda. Item 8.1, the request to approve the minutes of the regular meeting from February 22nd, 2021. Item 7.2, the request to approve the minutes of the special meeting from March 1st, 2021. 7.3, the request to approve minutes of the special meeting of March 8th, 2021. Item 7.4, the request to approve bills and accounts for the month of February. Item 7.5, the request to approve resignations and new hires. And item 7.6, the request to approve the Head Start Director's Report. Do any board members have any items they would wish to pull from the consent agenda? All right, seeing none, that will stand as the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Motioned by Anna. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Jen. Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Dookie? Yes. Eltark?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
Latash?
Yes.
President Davison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. With 5 yes votes, the consent agenda is approved. That will take us to section 9, the action agenda items. 9.1, the extended COVID-19 learning plan, ECOL, for the March reconfirmation hearing.
I'm going to hand it off to Ms. Maragna for the reconfirmation of the ECOL plan.
Yep, this is a short one this month, as they all are in some regard. You'll see the updated ECOL plan in the second box was linked to the newest approved board plan. And that's the one that was approved that we're in now, the hybrid model. Then at the bottom, you'll see two-way interaction rates. And you can kind of see our typical pattern. Rates drop a little bit before a break always. And then they usually stabilize after that to some extent. That's it.
This plan is simply reconfirming the plan that the board adopted in terms of the hybrid half-day schedule for elementary, as well as the 2-day-a-week plan for the secondary.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the item 9.1, the extended COVID-19 learning plan?
I move.
Moved by Sandra.
I'll second.
And seconded by Jen. Any questions or discussion? Okay, seeing none. Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Eltark?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
Latash?
Yes.
Dookie?
Yes.
President Davison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. With 5 yes votes, the extended COVID-19 learning plan is approved. That moves us to agenda item 9.2, the request to approve Equal Opportunity Schools, EOS, for the 2021-22 collaboration agreement phase 3.
So Ms. Radhika Isaac is going to give the presentation just for a little bit of historical knowledge. Ferndale High School has engaged in work with Equal Opportunity Schools for 2 years as a part of kind of a 3-year partnership. Next year, we're approaching phase 3 with EOS. We've worked with the same consultant for the first 2 years. So Radhika came in and really hit the ground running in terms of our work with Equal Opportunity Schools. And at this point is, you know, I think she'll be very excited to continue the work with them based on our, you know, where we're at in our current data. Again, the goal of Equal Opportunity Schools is to increase minority and low income participation in advanced placement courses at the secondary level. They've worked with countless schools, including Berkeley and Rochester and other schools within Oakland County. They work nationally with schools all over and are based out of Seattle. So again, just for a little bit historical context, we just received the service agreement, and that's why the presentation is during the regular meeting as opposed to a committee meeting. So Radhika, I'm gonna hand it over to you.
All right, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So once again, as I mentioned, this is something that we start every single one of our meetings, every single one of our presentations with. Again, we're committed, and we're committed to all students in all that we do. Again, these are the 3 questions that really we anchor ourselves into. I know it seems really redundant, but for us to continue to be in the same path, we continue to keep bringing these things up. So again, that high quality education, closing the achievement gap, and supporting social emotional learning. Those are the 3 that we continue to come back to make sure that we're ensuring that to all students. So as I mentioned, we have 681 total students currently. 58% have identified as Black or African American, and 32% as white. So I just wanted to make sure, hold on to those numbers, 58%. As we look at some other numbers later, I'll circle back to it, but just to kind of paint that picture of who our students are, because Equal Opportunity Schools, as Dr. Bazzi mentioned, is really to ensure that our students from socioeconomically disadvantaged students and our students that are students of color are being served, and that we are not obstructing access to high-level educational courses. So the questions that you know, that I really wanted to highlight are: where are we headed? You know, how will, where are we headed? Where are we now? And how will we get there? So where are we headed? This is EOS's mission statement, and it aligns with our commitment to what we have in Ferndale schools. And so it's a natural partnership to have. Their vision statement, if you click again, Dr. Bazzi, their vision statement, you know, is to provide the highest learning opportunities for our students. And so this idea that if we provide the pathway, if we remove obstacles that are unnecessary in people's way, we can actually release the highest human potential. And what a gift that would be as educators to provide that opportunity for all of our students. So this is where we are right now. So as Dr. Bazzi mentioned, we're in year 2. And so the top table shows students that are participating in at least one AP course. So if you look to your left in 2019, 2020, again, remember those numbers. 58% of our population is Black or African American. And so we, as of last year, we had about 31% of our AP classes were Black or African American. And if you look to the right in the green on the first table, you'll notice that there is a significant increase in the number of Black and African American students in at least one AP course. The table below is an aggregate of all AP courses that we offer and how many students are, or how many AP courses are being taken by either Black or African American students, white students, and other students. And again, you'll see that there's a significant increase in that. Now, what Equal Opportunity Schools provides for us is support in helping us not only understand how we can recruit students, aggressively recruit. Kim Thomas is our facilitator from EOS, our partner for EOS, and she always is very bold. We always talk about being bold and being aggressive, and we aggressively recruit students of color to get them excited about AP and honors courses and provide as many opportunities as possible. And so not only getting them excited and recruiting, but then the second piece that really is the work that we do at FHS is to build that support. And that's the work that we're really, really excited about for next year. So Dr. Bazzi, can you go to the next slide? So in year 3, we have, again, that recruitment of students. We want to be as aggressive as possible. We're going to continue increasing students of color in honors and AP courses. The support for students for year 3, we are at a precipice of a really bold and exciting and challenging restructure of how we provide supports. And so we have a small cohort right now, and we're really trying to come up with a plan of how do we provide support for all students in a 30-minute block 2 days a week, which actually grew out of the work that our Equal Opportunity Schools teaching cohort, the staff that was part of it, they had this wonderful idea and we just expanded on it. And now we're going to be looking at really growing it school-wide. So we're very, very excited. It's at a very beginning stage. We don't know a lot of details. We just know the structure of it, that it's going to be 30 minutes. We know it's going to be 2 days a week. We know that there's going to be an entrance criteria and an exit criteria, and we're going to, all students can benefit from support no matter where we are in our learning journey. And so we're going to identify ways that we can support all students. And then again, I know I'm harping on it, but adult growth is really, really important. So for our staff, we are going to continue with that culturally responsive teaching and inclusive practices, ensuring that as we create the structure for our students, that our staff is ready to actually hold that structure up and fill that up with everything that we have within us to support our students. AVID is going to be another avenue that we're going to continue growing. As I mentioned, we have our grade level cohorts. So we're going to go from 9th to 10th, and then the following years we'll go 11th to 12th. But we also want to engage our staff in AVID practices and make sure that we as adults practice those strategies so that we can grow our students. So that is a very brief update of where we are now, where we're headed, and how we're going to get there. I invite questions for the work that we have done and to clarify anything related to Equal Opportunity School.
No, but I don't have any questions, but I have been eagerly watching as the program has been evolving over the last 2 years, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. And thanks for just grabbing hold of that and running with it. It sounds like you're doing amazing things with it. And it'll be wonderful to see the combination of AVID and then all the move towards the AP classes. It's really exciting to see.
Yeah, we're very excited. It feels like all these moving parts are starting to kind of fit into a puzzle, and we're starting to build that big picture. So it's exciting.
All right, is there a motion to approve the Equal Opportunity Schools 2021-22 Collaboration Agreement Phase 3?
I'll move.
Moved by Jen.
Second.
And seconded by Anna. Any other questions or comments? Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Ibrahim,
Yes.
Latash,
Yes.
Dookie,
Yes.
El Turk,
Yes.
President Davison.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. With 5 yes votes, the Equal Opportunity Schools 2021-22 Collaboration Agreement Phase 3 is approved. That will take us to agenda item 9.3, the request to approve the bid for Ferndale High School band uniforms.
I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Elin Jameson, who is our Director of Bands at Ferndale High School. He's going to share some exciting news with regards to our marching band uniform bids.
So first of all, I want to make sure that everyone can see a Google folder with a bunch of pictures in it, because I'm used to using Google Meet all the time because that's what I use every day with my students, but not so much presenting with Zoom. So it sounds like that's a yes. So first of all, I'll just share with you that the current uniform that we're in, we first acquired in 2007 with the significant support from the board at the time and the school district at the time. Typical life expectancy of a washable uniform like what we would use is 10 to 12 years. And so we've had it 13, I guess 14 years. This would have been our 13th season using it this past fall, had we not had to cancel because of COVID. I mean, everything's because of COVID lately. So at any rate, it's time to replace it. While our uniform lady, Judy Donlan, has been wonderful about keeping it in good shape, it's time. The design looks a little bit dated and it's starting to show some wear and tear. So it's about that time. So we started this process about 1.5 years ago, initially worked with the same company that made our current uniform because I believed that was the gold standard for a washable uniform for a competitive marching band. Once we went through the RFP process, we discovered that there actually was a better design that was going to be several $1,000s cheaper than the competitor. And so this is a few pictures of what this would be. So first of all, I do want to share with you the design on the left was the prototype that we received a little over 1 year ago. That's my neighbor across the street wearing it, who was a band member at the time. He's now a sophomore. He was, I guess, a year younger at this point. And it's nice, but it wasn't really speaking to us. We believed that was the best option we had. Then again, in the RFP process, we got this sketch that you see on the right, and we liked it a lot better, for not the least of which the reasons that it really combines some elements of a traditional looking marching band uniform while also still being progressive at the same time. And one thing that's really, really nice is that it actually, the 3 diagonal gold stripes across the chest and then also across the shako, which is the fancy word for a band hat, harken back to the uniform that we have right now. So it allows us to retain some of our visual identity. So that we were immediately impressed by that. And so here's a few shots. I think I'll do the outdoor shots primarily, just because the natural light looks a little bit better. This is Elliot Reed. He's a senior in our band program. He volunteered to be our model. The mask does not come with a uniform, but obviously it does match as it worked out well. So there's a few different shots of that. Let's see here. I apologize. I need to move something so I can move from shot to shot. One of the really neat things about this particular design, as we wait for the next picture to preview for us, is actually, this is a good angle of it, what's called a quarter skirt here. So some would call it a cape, but it drapes from the hip down to about the knee. And this particular thing that we didn't discover until we actually had it in person and actually had the prototype is that, and this is, you can kind of see it in this shot, there's actually gold lame on the underside of the quarter skirt, so that when you do a quick turn, a quick direction change, you actually get to see that gold flash up. So it's a really cool, I'm not sure you guys can see it. I can't see it on my end. The video hasn't been working. Did you guys see the gold flash on your end?
No.
No, yeah, you saw a green screen, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I apologize. The video drivers on my old desktop haven't been working correctly. I promise you that that quarter skirt flashes up. There's this really cool flash of gold. That was a really pleasant surprise when we got the uniform in hand. So you guys may have some questions. Our bottom line, discussing it with the staff, and I also brought Mr. Butler into it since he obviously supervises uniforms for the athletic teams. We felt that this was a really great choice at a very competitive price. The uniform, as you see it, actually, you can't tell, but it's designed with the jacket in two pieces, so that the jacket itself is sleeveless. And so that's, the primary design that you see. Let me pull up another picture of it so we can talk about it a little more effectively. So, and then the sleeves and the little leaf collar, if you can see that, I don't know if you can see my cursor, the little black collar that hangs down, those are actually part of a separate garment that goes on underneath the sleeveless jacket. And the idea behind that is that you can trade out the sleeves and the collar for a different design. So if you want to do a show that is about trees, I'm just making something up now, then what you could do is you could have sleeves that look like leaves. Things like that. The only thing that we're uncertain of, and it would be less money if we chose to not do this, is whether or not it will be too many layers. If we're thinking of a September competition or the Memorial Day parade, if we're wearing those 2 layers of fabric plus a t-shirt underneath, our kids are going to be really potentially quite uncomfortable. And quite frankly, I'm not sure it's safe with 3 layers of fabric that we'll have to wear for a stretch of time. So we may decide to, it was originally pitched to us as a one-piece jacket with the sleeves and collar and jacket all one piece. We may decide to go back to that design, which would save us about $2,400 for over the course of it. So it would not be more, it would only be less. The 2-piece jacket is a little bit more money, as you would imagine. I don't know what else you need to know. I don't know the exact price, but for 100 uniforms, it's a little bit south of $44,000. I know Mrs. Hoover would have the exact price for the bid for what you're seeing as pictured. Obviously, the socks don't come with it either. We didn't have marching band shoes handy the day that Elliot came to model the uniform.
Pretty sharp looking.
Yeah. One thing that some people might notice is, hey, wait a minute, there's no brown in the uniform. That was very much a conscious choice. Both we and the athletic teams have been moving further and further away from brown. I recognize that it's school colors, but brown is not a flattering color. It just is not. But we still have, gold and white, and the primarily gray and black palette looks really good on a marching band field. That's a pretty common thing nowadays.
So just the board, the numbers, the 43,717 for 100 uniforms. The next bid that came in was at 50,100 for 100 uniforms. So as Mr. Jameson mentioned, it's a design that they preferred and a little bit less money. And then we've been saving. Mr. Jameson gave us ample notice on the need for new uniforms probably 3 years back. And so we've been saving for that each year to make sure that we'd be able to cover this expense.
Very frugal.
Dr. Bazzi, would you like me to transfer control back to you? That makes sense?
That would be
great. All
yes.
Right, let me shut down sharing here, and then I'll get you back as the host. All right, here we go.
And Mr. Jameson, you were saying too that the design you were showing that was that 2-piece jacket, but that you're looking at going back to a 1-piece, but that would even be a lower cost?
It would be $2,400 cheaper for the package price. So the 43,700 minus 2,400. Correct. Yes, we just we just need to stew on it a little bit more. We don't have much more time. Where like if you were to approve the uniform and we placed the order tomorrow, we would receive them in late July, early August, which is about when we would want to receive them to give our uniform people enough time to get them fitted to our students and get them ready to use for, you know, September performances. The other thing I would share is that the look will be exactly the same. The uniform will not look any different than what you saw. It will just be constructed slightly differently. I should also share, just because I thought of it, I did do quite a bit of research on the company. Dumoulin has been around for decades. The company that we're recommending we go with, and everyone I've talked to has been really, really happy with their construction of their products, the materials, the customer support, all of that. So I feel very, very good about going with a different company than we used 14 years ago, the last time we bought a new uniform.
Elin, I will say that one of the great pleasures in my 4 years has been to witness the Ferndale High School Marching Band. I've never seen anything like it, and your dedication to that program and to Ferndale is through you and your family, through your wife, Stacy. Honestly, it really is a pleasure. So I thank you for all the work and thought that went into this process.
Absolutely, it's a labor of love. I want our kids to have a uniform that is as nice as they're marching and playing.
Good looking.
Thank you for your support.
All right.
Good looking and good look and good price.
Thank you, Mr. Jameson. Is there a motion to approve the request for the bid for FHS band uniforms?
I move.
Moved by Anna.
Mm-hmm.
Second.
And seconded by Sarah. Any other questions or comments?
Just say that I do appreciate the lack of brown. They look great.
Good looking.
Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Latash?
Yes.
Dookie?
Yes.
El-Turk?
Yes.
Ibrahim?
Yes.
President Davison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. With 5 yes votes, the bid for the FHS band uniforms is approved. That takes us to agenda item 9.4, the request to approve the FECC playground, UHS Media Center, and bus garage bids.
Jamie Stottlemyre, will you take it away?
Yes, so we worked with our architect, Wakely, their engineers, interior design company, and also we had a playground consultant, Ventura, develop the bid package for those 3 projects. They were broken up into 3 proposals. So proposal A was all the renovations at the bus garage. B was the media center at University High School, which also includes creating some student collaborative spaces. And then proposal C was the creation of the playground at the Early Childhood Center. Now, keep in mind, we previously purchased the playground equipment, and that has arrived and is sitting behind the stadium at the high school. So proposal C would be all the site work and installation of that equipment that we've already purchased. And then they also, we gave the bidders an opportunity to do a combined bid. If they were to be awarded multiple categories, they would provide us with a discount. And that worked in our favor in this case. So we held a public bid opening on February 26th. And as you can see, we had great coverage. We actually had 10 bidders submit proposals. And the bids were very close, which means that the design was good. There was not a lot of questions on what was being bid on, but there were 2 anomalies. The one was DNS contractors for proposal B at University High School, and the other one was NRC builders for proposal C on the playground. You can see those were a lot lower than all the other bids. Everybody else was pretty tight on their numbers. Those 2 bidders have made mathematical errors, and they've asked us to withdraw their bids. So then we interviewed North American Construction. They gave us the low combined bid at $923,600. Keeping in mind that we did have in the 2020 bond, we did have $400,000 slated, and we had minor renovations at the bus garage for $308,000 in our 2020 bond. So that $708,000 will be available for other bond projects. If approved, all this work would be done this summer. And so we're pretty excited to get these projects underway. Any questions on this? I did want to mention, oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Jamie.
No, I was just gonna say, we currently have a little over 285,000 in our sinking fund account, and we are expecting a payment of 950,000 on July 1st. So that would be $1.2 million. So we designed these projects with that budget in mind. So that'll give us a little bit of a cushion. As you know, as we've done these projects in the past, we like to leave a little bit of a cushion for any surprises that might pop up, boiler issues, air handlers, things that might cost a little more. We like to keep a little bit of money in the bank for that. I'm sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
No, you're good. So those were a couple that kind of helped us a little bit. My question was if we're taking money that we had previously or projects we'd allocated to be part of the bond, and we're taking and using the sinking fund money, is that going to affect us with any of the projects we had planned for the sinking fund?
No, we'd be basically as we approach each summer, we have a list of projects that we tackle. And so we decided that these projects were important to move ahead. So we've decided to move these into sinking fund, knowing that that money then would be freed up for other bond projects. And if you remember when we actually did the estimates for the bond, originally when GMB went through our district, they had identified over $400 million in needs. We had to pare that down to the $124 million bond. So they just did some rough estimates on these projects, and we didn't allocate a lot of money for them. But knowing that we had this sinking fund money in place, we were able to I don't want to say do the projects properly, but we were able to do them completely. As an example, at the bus garage, not only are we doubling the size of the staff lounge, but we're turning it into a training room. So we'll be able to train the bus drivers in there. We're putting in a whole new HVAC system. It's getting 2 new furnaces. Things that we didn't have in the bond, we're able to do now in the sinking fund, so that this bus garage will maintain us for many, many years to come. Same thing with the playground. We're, as an example right now, if you drive by it, you'll notice that the roof rain conductors spill out onto the playground. Well, as part of this project, we're actually collecting all that water. We're routing it underground and tying it into a storm catch basin so that we won't have all that roof water dumping onto the playground. So we are making a lot of improvements so that these projects can be as good as we can possibly make them with the funds that we have.
I got one other question, and I don't know, when you add up the North American Construction Enterprises or whatever, their A, B, and C's, the combination proposal isn't the same as what the A, B, and C add up to. Is that because of the discount?
Yes, it was over $1 million,
okay.
I think $1,010,000 or $1,010,000, something.
Yeah.
So that's just a heavy discount that the contractors offer if they get all the work, because they won't have to remobilize to do different, they'll already have their people on site to be able to bounce between the 3 projects. So they have some economies of scale by doing all 3 projects.
Okay. I was like, don't tell me it's like they're going to get awarded and then come back and say like, oh, we miscalculated or something. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure.
And we did interview them, and they have everything included. And we also talked to their references, one of which is Grosse Pointe Schools. I actually am, I'm friends with the person that is the facility director over there. And he said that they do good work and that they would hire them back. So he said that, there was no issues with that company.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Is there a motion to approve the request for the FECC playground, UHS Media Center, and bus garage bids?
I move.
Moved by Sandra.
I'll second.
And seconded by Sarah. Any other questions or comments?
I don't have any questions, but I'm excited to see how these projects turn out at UHS and FECC in the fall. I mean, the bus garage too, but I'm really excited about at UHS getting some new spaces that are fitting for the students that are there.
That's going to be awesome.
I also have to say, I distinctly remember being in that little staff lounge in the bus garage back when I had an initial tour in the district when I became a board member. I haven't forgotten. So I'm glad that the transportation staff will be able to have more accommodating, a more accommodating environment. Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Dookie?
Yes.
L-Turk?
Yes.
Ibrahim?
Yes.
Latash?
Yes.
President Davison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. With 5 yes votes, the bids for the FECC Playground, UHS Media Center, and Bus Garage are approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stottlemyre.
And oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Agenda item 9.6, the request to approve the bus purchase.
Okay, so back in November, we approved the purchase of 6 buses using bond funds, and those were already allocated into our 2020 bond. And that was because we have 13 buses in our fleet, 6 of which are on a lease, and that lease expired June 30th. So those 6 buses that we purchased back in November will cover our lease and get us out of the leasing business. So we'll own the whole fleet. Now this next bus is to replace the oldest bus in our fleet, which is bus number 4, and it's currently 16 years old. So we're going to start a systematic approach replacement cycle for these buses, and we'll continuously update this replacement schedule for you so you can see where we're at with it. But we do have it mapped out for the next few years as far as what buses we're going to replace and when. And this is based on input from our mechanic. And then also typically anytime a bus reaches 10 years old, we have to go through state police inspections every year. When they hit the 10-year mark, the inspectors really start to take a really closer look at it because that's concerning to them. So you always want to keep an eye on the average fleet age. We don't want that number to get too high. So we want to make sure that we're maintaining our fleet in the best possible condition. Similar to the 6 buses that we purchased before, this will be a gasoline powered bus. It is purchased off the MSBO bid purchase program, which is a state run program through MSBO, which we get the best possible price for this bus. We have had very good luck with the gasoline powered buses that we have now. They're quieter, they warm up faster, they're less costly to repair. So they've really been a pleasant surprise. So with that, we would like to purchase 1 more bus to start the rest of our fleet replacement.
Is there a motion to approve the bus purchase?
I'll move.
Moved by Jen.
Second.
And seconded by Sandra. Any questions or discussion?
No, I'm just actually beyond thrilled that we're moving into this phase of actually buying buses and not having them red tagged and have to lease them. So this is a great position to be in. Thanks, Jamie.
Yes. Well, I mean, we have to thank the voters too, because the bond helped.
Yeah. Yep.
Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
L-Turk?
Yes.
Ibrahim?
Yes.
Latash?
Yes.
Dookie?
Yes.
President Davison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. With 5 yes votes, the request for the bus purchase is approved. That takes us to agenda item 9.6, the request to approve the resolution for the Kulik Center and Ferndale High School, Ferndale Middle School land agreement.
As discussed, currently the city of Ferndale owns roughly 9 acres at the Ferndale High School and Middle School site. And currently the city of Ferndale utilizes the Kulik Center as their recreation center, which is the school district's property. We're both engaged in long-term lease agreements to be able to utilize that space, but the district is interested in making significant improvements to the high school and middle school site and really want ownership of the property at that site since we're investing a large amount of bond dollars. Similarly, the city wants to invest into the property at Kulik for the rec center. And so we've engaged in discussions now close to a year about working out a land swap agreement so that we can take ownership of the land at the high school and middle school, and so that the city can take ownership of the Kulik Center for the purposes of the recreation center. The Kulik Center sits on a little bit under 3 acres of land. It's mutually, again, beneficial to both, as we discussed at the committee of the whole meeting. All other agreements in terms of recreation agreements will still stay intact as a result of this land swap. So this just really addresses the land at each of those sites. So what I have for approval is a resolution that will authorize me to be able to sign the land swap. The city will be taking this to their council meeting on next Monday. And then as soon as both sides have authorized it, we'll be able to engage in the agreement. Questions?
Good idea.
I know this has been a long time. The process has been a long time. So I'm glad that the city and the school district continue to work so well with each other.
Yeah, I'd say also from working on, I know prior to lots of financial stuff, but the city has been working on same issues of wanting to make improvements to Kulik, but being concerned about the fact that they didn't own the land. So I think it works out from both ends to hopefully make improvements to a lot of different facilities.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution for the Kulik Center and FHS FMS land agreement?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Sarah.
Second.
And seconded by Anna. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Ibrahim?
Yes.
Latash?
Yes.
Dookie?
Yes.
Elturk?
Yes.
President Davison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. With 5 yes votes, the request for the to approve the resolution for the Kulik Center land agreement is approved. That takes us to agenda item 9.7, the request to approve the Jackson Park CASA land update.
All right, so this resolution is to provide me the ability to engage in a purchase agreement with the City of Oak Park for the Jackson Park land. Currently, the plan is to build the new Ferndale Lower Elementary School at the CASA site, which sits on just about 6-7 acres of land. If we're able to secure the Jackson Park site, we'll have a little over 11 acres for a brand new state-of-the-art elementary school that will be roughly 90,000 square feet. So currently there is a deed restriction that limits the ability to do anything with that land except for build single family dwellings, homes on that property. We're currently in the ballot process of trying to obtain the applicable number of yes votes to be able to lift that deed restriction. So this purchase agreement is contingent upon the district being able to utilize the land and having the deed restriction lifted. So ultimately there is an exit if we're not able to secure that. We should know probably in the next 30 days whether we're able to be successful with that or not. Though, you know, there's quite a bit of work in ensuring that we get the right number of ballots back. So again, there will be a school at that particular site. Oh, one second. Oh, There will be a school at that site nonetheless, irregardless of if we're able to secure the deed restriction, but obviously for spatial design, it would be best to secure the property. So again, I know we discussed this in great lengths at the committee of the whole. Are there any other questions about the resolution or the purchase agreement? I will say it's been a pleasure to work with the City of Oak Park. They're really excited about a new elementary going up within the city, and have been staunch supporters of our bid to lift that deed restriction.
Yeah. I hope that it works out, and I know that you know, if by some chance it weren't, that the team that you have working on the school would make the very best either way. Is there a motion to approve the request for the Jackson Park CASA land update?
I'll move.
Moved by Sandra and seconded by?
I'll second.
Jen. Any other questions, comments?
No, I'm just gonna keep fingers crossed for the next few weeks that this will move forward and we can make that state-of-the-art facility with a good traffic flow for the neighborhood.
Yep.
Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Latash.
Yes.
Dookie.
Yes.
El Turk.
Yes.
Abraham.
Yes.
President Davison.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. With 5 yes votes, the Jackson Park CASA land update is approved. That takes us to section 10 on the agenda, the informational items. 10.1, the budget to actual report.
Let me just share my screen again. Right. So Nancy Hoover prepares us this report each month to make sure that we're in line with our spending. Again, we're at about 43% remaining of our budget at this point in the year. Last year, we were at about 50%. Again, the variance is really explained by the footnotes here, A, B, C, and D. For example, under federal revenue, it shows we have 40% remaining as opposed to 73% remaining last year. Again, that's due to the district receiving about $1 million in COVID virus relief funds that we didn't get the previous year. So again, nothing unexpected, similar to what it's been showing each month in terms of why there's variances, you know, in terms of adult ed, instructional staff support, other central support, and community services. So again, we have a large portion of deferred section 107, which is our adult ed funding that has to be spent, you know, that had to be spent by February 28th. So again, nothing out of the ordinary. We're doing very well financially for this year, considering the pandemic. And again, it's a testament to Nancy and her work navigating us through this year. Any questions?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Any questions or comments? All right. Thank you, Dr. Bazzi. That'll take us to agenda item 10.2, the resuming of in-person board meetings.
All right, so not much has changed since we last met during the committee of the whole. I know the board had asked that this be placed on the agenda for discussion. We're really waiting to see what happens. Currently, boards are allowed to meet in a hybrid model, but again, is limited to 25, which causes a little bit of an issue, because say you have 40 people show up to the meeting and you're only allowed 25, then it gets into an Open Meetings Act issue if you're telling people they have to go back somewhere else to be able to view the meeting and not be in person. So I know the board wishes to be in person. They want to be in person, but currently the restriction is until March 31st. And we probably, we'll hear back between now and then in terms of if we are to move back to in-person, or if hybrid continues or virtual continues. But I don't know if anyone else has seen anything else come through, but I have not.
I guess we'll wait and see. I think we're all looking forward to the dynamic that comes with in-person board meetings. Thank you, Dr. Bazzi.
Sorry, Mike, just so I know myself to clarify. So if no other resolutions or anything are put into place starting in April, our meetings would be in person. Is that correct?
Well, the MDHHS order would have to be lifted.
Okay, the order has to be lifted in order.
Yeah, currently it's restricting us to 25 in person. So they would ease those requirements.
All right, agenda item 10.3, the ESS ER2 funding.
All right, I'm gonna try and make this as simple as possible. We finally got today the official amount in terms of ESSER 2 dollars, COVID relief dollars that we would be receiving for the 21-22 school year. Ferndale is set to receive $1.293 million, and it will flow through our Title I dollars. What that equates to is it equates to about a $418 per pupil increase, which sounds wonderful, right? It really sounds great. Unfortunately, these are one-time dollars. So all of the increases that we're going to see are for 1 year only. It's not like traditionally where we see $150 per pupil increase, and that's reoccurring every single year. So I say that to keep in mind that these are meant to help schools ease back into in-person learning, and that there'll still be lasting impacts of COVID as we go into next school year to some extent. The holdup was there was a last-minute add to the House bill that said in order to get basically the state said is if you're getting anything under $450 per pupil, we'll make up the difference. So again, Ferndale is set from that $1.293 million to get $418 per pupil. So the difference is $31.92, right? And the state of Michigan is saying, we're gonna make up that $31 and give it to you so that we ensure that you get $450 per pupil. The caveat was what they snuck into it last minute, literally at night, they snuck into the legislation that puts the requirement that you have to offer at least 20 hours of in-person, which currently at the elementary and high school, we don't offer 20 hours of core instruction. We obviously offer learning labs and other supports, but not in terms of regular school. So what the state of Michigan is saying, if you don't offer those 20 hours, they will not make up the difference. So they will not be giving us that $31.92. How it further impacts us is they're using the super blend count number, which is the count number that was more generous than our actual count because it took in previous year's count. So that count is at 3094. So when you think about 3094 times $31.92, that's a difference of $98,761. So the district would stand to lose $98,761 if they don't offer 20 hours of in-person learning by March 22nd, which is problematic. The issue that we have is we were told in February to return to some form of in-person learning, whether it be hybrid or full days, by March 1st. That was the marching orders for the governor, and we complied with that request. We had an entrance plan that got us to meet the requirements that were laid out by the governor. So for this to come out roughly a week ago and to say, okay, you've had your plans, they're implemented, there's a major issue. Now the governor is investigating ways to combat this with that 20-hour requirement, but it is problematic because it was approved by the House and the Senate. And the governor, from what Representative Weiss explained to me, is that the governor couldn't veto that particular line item because then it would veto the dollars associated. We could end up losing even more than that. So there was an issue with her actually doing the veto as a whole for that particular 20 hours. And so it puts us in a somewhat difficult spot. Some districts stand to lose a lot more. Some districts aren't losing anything at all because they're hitting the 450 threshold. Ultimately, the requirement, in my humble opinion, is wrong. It should not have been added. Senator Moss and Representative Weiss were not in favor of that and were as equally disappointed. Their main concern, though, is to understand what our impact is. And I've shared with them what that impact would be to Ferndale Public Schools. Again, sharing with the board just my perspective. And of course, I'm open. At this point within the district, we have 50% of families who have expressed and actually acted upon their desire to stay virtual to the end of the year. They want to stay virtual. And so the only way that a district of our size is able to offer two robust options, having some in person, as well as having a robust virtual program, is to utilize the model that we're doing. Because think about it, if our teachers were teaching full day, who's teaching the 50% of our students in a virtual environment? It would mean that 100% of our staff is being expended for 50% of our students. And that's really where we're at. The data drives our decision-making. And so obviously I'm never in support of losing $98,700, but at the same time, to change the model and try and do two robust models will cost us probably a large chunk of our ESSER funds. So, I wouldn't recommend to the board to do that. But ultimately, I'm at the board's pleasure, but that's really where we're at. So rather than getting 1.29 million, we'll get, 1.21 million approximately, or 1.2 million. So that's kind of where our thinking is at. Obviously, I would tell the board as well as our community members to advocate against that requirement and lobby against it. But that's really the position that we're in right now. Any questions?
I don't have a question. I just, I'm glad that you reworded that, because it's really not, we're not really losing money. We're just not going to get the,
yes.
I want to make sure that's clear. It's not like they're coming to get 98,000 from us. It's just, we're not going to get the full amount. We're going to get what's slotted to us minus 98,000.
That's correct. That's a great point. We're not, you are correct. We're not being with, they're not coming to the bank and taking some of our fund balance. It's simply an adjustment to what we're receiving. Yeah.
So receiving $98,000 less doesn't put us in a position to make cuts or anything like that.
No, this district has been fiscally responsible. Everyone from the teacher level all the way up to the, to central office have understand the importance of fiscal responsibility, and it's why I believe we're in a really good place.
Any other thoughts?
I have lots of thoughts, but I should not say them out loud on a recording. Yeah. I do have a real quick question, and if you don't know the answer, that's fine. I'm really just more curious than anything. Do you know where that $98,000 goes?
I will have to ask our legislative aide.
I mean, it's not, yeah, I'm just curious on what they're going to be doing with this, because I can't imagine all the districts that had their plans in place are going to be able to scramble enough for this to jump through that hoop, I'll say. That was it.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Bazzi, for that good explanation. That takes us to agenda item 11. There were no pulled consent agenda items. Agenda item 12, the next board meeting is a special meeting of the Board Committee of the Whole scheduled for April 12th, 2021. And our next regular board meeting is scheduled for April 19th, 2021. And that brings us to the Eagles Points of Pride or comments.
I'll go first.
Thanks.
I just want to say how grateful I am for the staff that we have that has gone through the process of getting our kids back in school face to face for the families that have returned, and being able to manage even at a high school level, teachers who are teaching kids in person and at home. I guess all of our teachers are doing that. And I just appreciate all the hard work. It's been one heck of a ride, and I'm hoping that we get some reprieve over the summer to come back to something a little less hectic than what it's been. So thank you all.
I'll go next. I kind of want to ditto kind of what Sandra said, just thankful for all the teachers, all the staff, with being as flexible as they've been and all the adjusting to the new changes to the schedule, to principals who've been adjusting schedules to make sure that everybody's meeting and getting all of the needs they do for whether it be essential classes or for their regular classes, and to all the parents who have adjusted with their kids to the new schedules, and I'm kind of continuing to work on that. So just kudos to our community as a whole for making the changes and doing what we needed to get kids back into school.
Can I make one comment as a bus driver?
This is actually not public comment time.
Oh, okay. I didn't know Eagle Points of Pride is just for the members. I'm sorry.
It is. I'm sorry.
I didn't know. Okay. Well, I'm going to say goodnight then.
Good night.
I will bring mine back around to my point of pride, but I did want to just talk briefly about this rogue Senate bill that was introduced last week. It was a very anti-transgender student bill I don't know if anyone saw it. I know it doesn't have a chance of making it through, and I know if it made it to the governor's desk, she would most likely veto it. But I just want to point out that our district is very welcoming, open, supportive, and proud of our transgender students and families, and that we will do everything in our power to continue to support our students and our families, and that we won't stand by for any such state bill to come down and try and bully our kids or our families. So I just wanted to state that we are very proud of every single student in our district, and LGBTQA and all the straight kids too. So I just wanted to point that out, that we are proud of everyone, and these bills are not gonna sway us in our support.
Let me see here if I'm on mute. Nope. Usually I'm on mute when I'm not supposed to be. And my point of pride would be, I think it was said earlier in the meeting that sometimes we are a little redundant in mentioning our objectives, our mission, our goals, the things that we hold very dear to us. And redundant often has a rather negative quality to it. But in this case, the fact that we, as in Ferndale, hold the things that we do, and we say them often, and we open every meeting with them, and we live them, or really try to live them, fills me with a great deal of pride. And that equity, diversity, inclusion is so important. Makes me very proud. And I think I leave it to Mike now.
Yes, thank you. So, I mean, I'm echoing some of what's been said. I really appreciate our staff. I mean, to imagine, you know, the burden of figuring out how to present and deliver education, both online and in person. And similar to what Sarah said, to our families as well, who have had to make these adjustments. I mean, who would have ever thought? I do want to say that, you know, my kids who have returned in person have really felt safe, and really feel the they definitely have gratitude for having the opportunity after so long. So kudos to all the teachers and the staff that have structured it to make it happen, both for students in person and online. I'm glad that Dr. Bazzi and her staff have figured out a plan that continues to deliver Ferndale education with Ferndale teachers in the manner that the families wish for it.
I'll just quickly echo what everyone said. It was really a great entry ramp for each of the different levels, culminating with the secondary going back today. The principals, teachers, everyone did a fantastic job in following the safety protocols. But most importantly, our students have been phenomenal as well. I think there's a little bit of a shock of being back in the building. But you know, I can say that all my interactions with them have been positive. They seem happy to be back. And you know, similarly, the staff welcoming students has been wonderful to see.
All right, that brings us to agenda item 15, the request to go into closed session to discuss contract negotiations. Is there, oh, and we need to include.
We'll be including Teresa Volcano, Nancy Hoover, Johanna Marekna, and myself.
To include Dr. Bazzi, Ms. Maragna, Ms. Hoover, and Ms. Volcano. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
I'll move.
Moved by Jen.
I'll second.
I think Anna beat you to it, Sandra. Seconded by Anna. Roll call, Ms. Shepherd.
Dookie?
Yes.
Elturk?
Yes.
Ibrahim?
Yes.
Latash?
Yes.
President Davison?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. With 5 yes votes, we will move into closed session to discuss contract negotiations. For those of you leaving us, thank you. All right, tonight's meeting will be adjourned at 9:31 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
Oh,
Good night.
Sarah,